Welcome to the Frustration to Freedom podcast, helping advisors and insurance producers grow their practice. My name is Mike Bemis, Senior Advisor Development Consultant at Simplicity, Minneapolis. I got my co-host here, my partner, Jeremy Karja, also a Senior Advisor Development Consultant at Simplicity, Minneapolis. We're continuing our series that we started here, and I'm really excited about the 4 things you need to do in every first appointment. We covered, the firing the competing broker. We covered sure thing versus a maybe. This next one I think is an awesome topic, and we're going to be talking about socializing the word annuity. Jeremy,
Oh yes.
Tell me about socializing the word annuity. Why do we need to do that in the first appointment?
So let's say you are sitting with a client and you go through the process. They love you. You have their trust. They're excited. They're working with you. And you haven't mentioned a thing about annuities at this point. And you get to the second meeting, you're going in for the close, and all of a sudden you say, okay, this is an annuity in some way, shape, or form. And they hate annuities. They hate them, Mike. They've been listening to all the talking heads that talk about annuities, and they don't like them. And so all of a sudden, your appointment comes to a screeching halt. And that is because you did not bring up the word annuity to see where they stand with annuities. So it's really, really important you get the word annuity out in that first meeting.
I think that we've talked about it through the podcast now and the YouTube channel, is that if you run into problems in the second or the third appointment, it's because you did something wrong in the first appointment, right?
It is.
And so part of what I don't want to say we're fighting, or the thing that sometimes producers have to overcome, is just all the marketing out there about annuities, right? And, I have to say, certain people maybe that, been fishing, maybe that's, if you can get where I'm going with that one.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that, right? That doesn't like annuities because he makes more money managing your money, right?
He does.
And there's lots of marketing out there against annuities because they want you to keep managing your money, because that's why that's how they make their money. I'd say the other thing is, there was some bad annuities out there. And I'll say that most people who don't like annuities are just uneducated, right?
Yeah. I
agree. So as a producer, we need to educate our clients on how they've changed, or where they're a fit, maybe for some of their money, right?
Agreed.
Awesome. So let's do this. Let's how about I'll be the client this time, okay?
I like it.
And you're the advisor, and you're talking to me. You're talking to me and my wife, and we're in their first appointment. And let's role play maybe socializing that word annuity, and we'll throw out some of the power phrases to help overcome that.
I like it. And a quick setup on this, Mike. So again, remembering the flow of the first meeting, right? If you just shotgun it all over and you just ask sporadic questions, there's not a healthy flow. So understanding where might be a good time to talk about the annuity. You could pick a few different spots, but one of my favorite spots and one of my advisor's favorite spots is when you're talking about where their money is and what their money is doing and what their goal is. Or after our topic we spoke about here of the first 4 meetings is sure thing or a maybe, right?
Sure thing versus a me. Yep.
So then you can easily transition at that spot as well, which we'll probably cover in the role play here.
Exactly. That's a good point. You have to set this up. You have to get a foundation for what they want first, and what some of their goals are, and then you're able to socialize, that word annuity. So, all right, let's rock and roll. Jeremy, go ahead.
Let's do it. All right. So as we're looking through your investments here, and we talked a little bit about what the goals are, I guess one big question I have for you, Mike, at this stage in your life, and I'll ask the wife as well, would you be more inclined to take a sure thing, or would you be more inclined to take a maybe with your retirement, Mike?
I would definitely say a sure thing, Jeremy.
Sure thing. Okay. So one of the things we utilize with a sure thing is something called an annuity. Have you heard of those?
Yeah. No.
No? So you've heard of annuities?
I've heard of annuities, but all I've heard is they're bad.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about that. What have you heard about annuities specifically?
Well, Ken Fisher says they're bad. Susie Orman says they're bad.
Big names.
I've been following those people for a while, but I don't want to lock my money. I hear they have high fees.
High fees.
and
Yes.
there's no return on them at all. And so if that's what we're talking about, Jeremy, I'm not interested.
Okay, so it's safe to say that almost like Ken Fisher, you hate annuities. Is that a kind of safe thing to say?
I mean, I wouldn't say I hate them. I really heard a lot of people say don't use them.
Okay, and I'll tell you this: they're absolutely right. The
What do you
reason I
mean?
say that, well, the reason I say that is some annuities out there I would not touch with a 10-foot pole. Right? There are good
Okay.
annuities, and there are bad annuities, and maybe the 90 to 95% of the bad annuities out there we don't represent, we do not do. Those high fees, those you lock up your money and you never get your money again, we do not do those type of annuities. Okay? So I agree with those individuals that those type of annuities you stay away from. But did you know there are actually some good ones out there, Mike?
What is the difference?
So some are irrevocable and some are revocable is one major difference, right? So an irrevocable money, that's the old annuities. You put your money in and you don't get your money back out, right? They're called two-tiered annuities. And
Okay.
those type of annuities lock your money up. The ones we represent, you get your money out anytime you want. Your money is
Okay.
not locked up. Now, they're going to hit you over the head with a hammer and take, 10%, but it's better than a 40% market drop. Would you agree with that, Mike?
10% is better than 40.
So again, we're talking about revocable annuities that you can get your money back. Now, addressing the high fees that you're concerned about, those are typically variable annuities. We don't sell variable annuities at our firm either. We only sell the good ones. Would you be okay if looking at annuities, if they were only the good ones, you could get your money out and they're low to no fees?
I'd be open to looking at it.
Here's what I would say. If you want the sure thing, like you told me, they're the only thing on the face of the earth that gives you guaranteed for the rest of your life. And if you die, your spouse gets it. And if you both die, the kids get the remaining balance. Doesn't that sound pretty sweet, Mike?
So if I die, my kids get what's left over?
They do. They do.
Well, I don't want to put all my money in annuities.
Absolutely not. No. And let's take a step back because I don't even know what you need at this point, Mike. We have to have our team come together and do an assessment. So
Okay.
I just want to let you know that's one of the things we utilize when somebody really wants a sure thing in their retirement. It's really the only thing that's a sure thing in retirement, in my opinion. Does that
Okay.
sound fair?
That sounds fair.
Okay, we can proceed forward then. How was that,
So
Mike?
that was a good job. Great job.
I've said it once or twice.
Once or twice. So a couple things I would say there is when you're having that conversation with the client, you want to make sure that you get all their objections out right away. You don't want to say, I hate, they hate Ken Fisher. They, I don't want to love him money. You don't want to like every time answer the question, right? You want to say, what else? What else have you heard? What else have you heard? What else don't you like? Whatever that is. And get all their questions and objections out first. Then you can go back and answer them, right?
Agreed.
Because you don't want it to go back and forth. It can kind of sometimes be combative, right?
Yes.
So that's
a great point. You don't want to get a back and forth, right? I tell my advisors this. Objections, you have to think of them like you want them on your side of the table. Not across the table where you're going back and forth and you're battling them, but bring them to this side of the table. So that's why if you notice I didn't disagree with you in the beginning. I told you I agree. I don't like annuities either. And you kind of pause and you're like, oh, that's a little weird, right?
Yeah.
Aren't you supposed to sell me on that? But I'm getting on their side of the table because it's true. I don't like a lot of the bad annuities out there.
I think a couple of the power phrases are, I hate annuities too, but I love what they do.
Yes,
Right.
I love that.
And you say, I love how you said in the end there, whoa, let's back up a second, and say, I got to run the assessment. I don't know if it makes sense for you to, for one of those yet, but would you be open to one of the good ones after I run the assessment? Right.
Yeah.
I think that's a great one. So, another great power line is, I don't want you to lock up your money. Who said we're going to lock up your money? Right.
Yep.
I think that's a bad idea too.
Yep.
And they're like, what are you talking about?
Because what we find, Mike, is the main reasons they hate annuities. That's why it's so important that you don't just attack it right away. If you notice, I asked a follow-up question. What specifically don't you like? because you have to figure that out to really approach it. Else you're just, again, shotgunning. So if they say it's high fees, where does that come from? Variable annuities.
Yep.
If they say locking up their money, where does that come from?
Tier 2 annuities, annuitization, SPIAs. Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
all that. So understanding what they don't like. Maybe they had a relative that locked up their money, didn't get their money. Maybe they had a relative that, said they hate annuities because, you lock up your money and they have 5 fees or whatever other variation. But those are the two most common. Wouldn't you say, Mike? Are there any other ones?
I would say those are the two main common ones. And, it just comes back to that foundation that we have to ask them these questions in that first appointment so we don't have problems in the second or the third appointment. And really, if somebody doesn't like annuities, 8 times out of 10, it's just they're uneducated. And it doesn't, they just know what they know, right? They're not in the industry. They don't deal with this stuff every day, right? And so if we can, like you said, ask more questions, get more details, we can politely educate them on their different types, right? That's really all it is.
Yes. Very true. Very true.
Cool. So the third thing we do in every first appointment, socialize the word annuity. We just got to get it out there. We got to see how they react, right?
Oh, that's a great point, Mike. A lot of times you just say the word annuity and you read their face. Just pause, look at them. If they make a face, they cross their arms, anything like that. Then
look at their wife, might be, something, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's a great. So, and if they don't, and you get zero reaction because they're a poker player, then you could just ask them straight up, like, "Hey, have you heard of annuities?" Right? You can do it that way too.
Awesome. All right, that's the third thing you need to do in every first appointment. Socialize the word annuity. Again, if you need help, if you need to role play this, if you don't do this right now in your practice and you want to learn how to do it better, you can book a time on our calendar. It's in every podcast, every YouTube video that we do. We can book a time. You're not going to talk with some random person. You're talking with either myself or Jeremy, and we'll show you how we help producers grow their practice. And if you want to join Team Elevate, click in that calendar, and our tagline is, "Hey, let's go, man. Let's grow your business. You're on an island, right? You're on an island as an independent producer for that bridge." To the mainland to help you out.
100%. We want to help. This is what we love to do. So please call us and book a time. Even if it doesn't work out long term, if we have a quick conversation to help your business, we love that too.